a shoddy piece of craftsmanship. This, according to Robert Kennedy Jr., who surprised a Dallas audience last night at an event ahead of the 50th anniversary of his uncle's assassination there. The evidence at this point is very, very convincing, he said, that it was not a lone gunman.
Washington is almost owned and operated by the U.S. corporate sector at this point.
When you hear what's going on out in the country, when you take the time to listen, you understand that a lot of folks are hurting out there.
Now, I'll say this as I said before the Senate. I'm glad to be an American. And don't misunderstand what I say. I'm trying to get a country that's pure, that's honest with its people. And I find Washington, D.C. bought. And if you want to get a congressman's attention or a senator's attention, write a big check.
Hello, I'm Larry Dupuy. I'm not a lawyer or attorney. I'm just sharing important information with those of you who may be interested. I hope the following facts and opinions will give you some real good food for thought. All rights reserved without prejudice to rights. I've been paying attention for the past 40 or so years. In 1975, I read a book called None Dare Call a Conspiracy. You ever notice how every time the government wants to shut people up, they call us conspiracy theorists? The conspiracy is not a theory, it's a reality. That book, None Dare Call a Conspiracy, that I read in 1975, named names of people and organizations that were involved in bringing about a one-world government and a one-world monetary system. Well, it turns out that that book was telling the future. It's exactly like that book said. So, instead of us being conspiracy theorists, we know there's a conspiracy. Our country didn't, by accident, go from a free country to a slave nation. But we no longer have the freedoms that we were guaranteed by the Constitution and Bill of Rights. Our president enforces the laws he wants to and disregards the ones he doesn't want to, because he's not operating under the guidelines of our founding documents. By the way, most of our federal agencies operate the same way. I hope you're paying attention, because the information you're going to get from this program in the next half hour or so is real important. You're not going to get it on the news. You're not going to get it in school. The government don't want you to know it. Your government is not serving we the people. It's serving the international bankers. I hope you get it. I was born in the year 1948 in Breaux Bridge, Louisiana. Louisiana is a state located on the continent of North America. Notice, to avoid confusion, I did not say in the United States. I did this on purpose. You should understand why I did this by the time you have heard this entire message. I went to public school, as have countless others in this nation. Having been taught a little history and civics as programmed by the government, I found that I did not get enough information in school. We were certainly not taught the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in regard to government, if you know what I mean. Just as in the days of the founding of this nation, we the people had to be on guard against evil, so must we the people be on guard in this day and age. If you have been seeing me on Food for Thought on Acadian Open Channel for the past 11 years, no doubt you have heard me say the devil is the god of this world. I hope you know that he is not the one true God, but is an impostor, a deceiver, also known as Allah. By the way, Ben Franklin said government is a necessary evil. He and several of our founding fathers warned us in their writings, many of which can be found in older reference books. Back to the subject at hand. Why were we the people not taught in great detail the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and other founding documents, including the discussions leading up to their writing? Could it be that the corporation, the United States, does not want we the people to be able to use them in our own defense against all enemies, foreign and domestic, especially domestic meaning in government? Why were we not taught that government and the courts use terms as defined in Black's Law Dictionary, and that said definitions have been changed in several editions of Black's Law Dictionary through the years? Could this have been done to deprive we the people of some of our God-given unalienable rights, to put us under commerce, under the Uniform Commercial Code, to enslave we the people, making us all slaves to the New World Order, to the international bankers, etc.? Are you paying attention? Are you aware that the corporation of the United States passed a law in 1917 called Trading with the Enemy Act? They passed a law recalling gold from the people and established the Federal Reserve, issuing Federal Reserve notes in place of real money. A note is an instrument of debt. We have all been swindled. You starting to get it? Please keep in mind the biblical term, the beast. If government usurps authority not granted it by we the people, in those founding documents establishing government, giving and limiting its powers, then it is no longer a government of, by, and for the people, is it? If it is not of, by, and for the people, who is it for then? Remember Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917? The corporation called us, we the people, the enemy, took our gold, issued fiat money, Federal Reserve notes, not real money, but instruments of debt. We've all been robbed. Do you remember the biblical quote, the love of money is the root of all evil? The international bankers think they own it all, the gold, the land, the homes, the people, their children, the cars, trucks, all things registered with government through title registration, birth certificates, marriage licenses, driver's licenses, building permits, and work permits. All mortgaged fraudulently by government, which is a fiction, without full disclosure to the real owners, we the people. So you see, it is no longer a government of, by, and for the people, but for the money manipulators, the real slave owners of this world, the greed and insatiable lust for power they have knows no end. The government known as the United States of America is actually a British corporation sending its profits back to England. Do you realize slavery is still alive and well in this country? Like all other communist, socialist, fascist governments, the United States seems to act with unlimited powers like a beast out of control. Do you know what I mean? In 1848, Karl Heinrich Marx, the father of communism over 160 years ago, published the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto. He advocated any means necessary, even violent warfare, to overtake a nation like the United States to convert it to communism. He said that if you incorporate the 10 planks of communism, He said that if you incorporated the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto in any government, it is a communist government. These 10 planks are in the government known as the United States, which is in reality a corporation. In the early 1960s, Nikita Khrushchev, the premier of the Union of the Soviet Socialist Republics, said, "We will take over the United States without firing a shot." He said this in an address to the United Nations. It has taken a few years, but they've done it. Look on the internet under Karl Marx or the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto and see for yourself. Has reality set in? Or are you, having been deceived, still in denial? As a teenager, I thought the United States of America meant the land and its people. Since then, I've come to know the distinction between the land, which I love, and its people, and the ungodly corporation, the United States, controlled by the elite, the Rothschilds of England, the Bilderberg Group, and the Illuminati. And last but not least, the World Church. Do you know that the word Catholic means world? In case you haven't noticed, folks, the corporation is not serving we the people. It's serving the international bankers. The God of this world has blinded them through greed and unbridled lust for power. In the next few minutes, we're going to be talking to you about liberty. Hope you're paying attention.
A shoddy piece of craftsmanship. This, according to Robert Kennedy Jr., who surprised a Dallas audience last night at an event ahead of the 50th anniversary of his uncle's assassination there. The evidence at this point is very, very convincing, he said, that it was not a lone gunman.
Washington is almost owned and operated by the U.S. corporate sector at this point.
When you hear what's going on out in the country, when you take the time to listen, you understand that a lot of folks are hurting out there.
Now, I'll say this as I said before the Senate. I'm glad to be an American. And don't misunderstand what I say. I'm trying to get a country that's pure, that's honest with its people. And I find Washington, D.C. bought. And if you want to get a congressman's attention or a senator's attention,